You've been working hard for the last 3 seasons to make sure that you have the most productive first year you possibly can have. And I know that you've done this because you watched the previous 3 videos about the previous 3 seasons. Seriously though, watching these guides will let you know where we're starting from when we start in winter, because there's a couple of things that if you don't do in the last 3 seasons, you will not be able to do in winter. That being said, let's get started with farming. Alright, let's look at a list of the available crops this year. What I meant to say was, let's look at a list of the available crops this year. If you finished all of the pantry bundles, you can grow any crop you want since you unlock the greenhouse. If you haven't finished the bundles yet, remember that you can still obtain all of the animal bundle items in winter, and for the artisan bundle you can still obtain the cheeses and cloth, plus any of the fruits if you chose the fruit bat cave way back in spring. Unfortunately, if you haven't finished any of the seasonal crop bundles, there's no salvaging this. Just skip this section and try again next year. Otherwise, welcome to the greenhouse. This little plot of land from heaven is able to grow any crop from any season without them dying off at the end of the month. Now you may have noticed that you can't actually buy any crops from Pierre in winter, but that's fine because the only crop you need you can buy from Sandy in the Oasis shop. The starfruit seeds here are expensive, but in terms of profit per crop, it's the best there is. Well, except for rare seeds technically. You should have planted some in fall for the star drop in the secret woods, but if you have any extra, feel free to plant them here. I'm gonna shoot straight here. You're gonna want starfruit with the best speed grow fertilizer you can afford for the best profit. We use speed grow because after the starfruit are grown, we want to put them into kegs to turn them into wine, and if you do that, the quality of the crop doesn't matter because it always resets to normal. It's also worth noting that fertilizer will never wear off in the greenhouse because the season never changes to get rid of it. You can also use up your ancient fruits, but remember that they take a really long time to grow, and there's not really an easy way to get a lot of them outside of seed makers. They also won't get any benefit from the fertilizer after they grow their first fruit. That's why I find it best to use only single harvest crops in the greenhouse. It's also good to leave a few spots open just in case you need to grow a specific crop, such as the red cabbage for the dye bundles, or anything else you may be missing. Now let's talk about those animals. If you followed the fall guide, you should already have a deluxe barn due to needing a truffle from a pig before the start of winter. If you don't have a deluxe coop yet, it should be top priority, since you'll need to have a rabbit grow old enough to be able to drop a rabbit's foot for the enchanter's bundle. Also, you might have a dinosaur egg, either from defeating a dinosaur in the skull cavern or by finding one in an artifact spot. Either put it into the incubator unlocked with the deluxe coop, or put it in one of your mayonnaise machines. You'll need dinosaur mayo for later. Other than items you'll need for bundles, I honestly don't pay too much attention to my animals at this point. A good starfruit setup will make several times as much money as the best animals, without needing all of the attention that the animals need. That was quite a bit, wasn't it? Despite the game repeatedly telling you that you won't have any chances to farm in winter, it actually ends up being your best moneymaker so far if you play your cards right. As always, we have the 4 main foraging items this season: crystal fruit, crocus, snow yams, and winter root. You'll find crocus and crystal fruits above ground, but snow yams and winter roots are found through dig spots, and just randomly underground. All of these will be used to finish the final crafts room bundle, the winter foraging bundle. This unlocks the quarry on the right side of the mountains. It's not really much of a big deal though. It's just an area where ore will spawn above ground, but you should have plenty of ore at this point anyway. There is, however, a tiny dungeon here that contains the golden scythe, which is also not very useful. It'll produce more hay when cutting grass, has a slightly larger cut radius, and does more damage to the enemies, which most likely changes the damage from 1 to 2. Amazing. Most people end up using this area to store kegs and the like. There is actually one more regular forageable: holly. It's not used in any bundles unless you remix them, and it's only liked by Harvey, Leah, and Linus. Otherwise, it's pretty much useless. Winter is the season to get your foraging level up to 10, because unlike all of the other seasons where planting the forageable seeds isn't worth it, the price of foraged items themselves are finally higher than the price of seeds in winter. Not only that, but you probably have a ton of unused farming space due to not being able to plant crops. Feel free to use all the space you have for winter seeds. Not only is it a surprisingly good source of money, but foraging is one of the hardest stats to get to level 10 otherwise, since there's just not a ton of ways to get experience for it. If you do hit level 10, I'd recommend either the lumberjack profession to be able to get a lot more hardwood, or if you're fine on hardwood, the botanist profession. Botanist makes all foraged items iridium quality, which will net you a lot of money if you're planting a lot of winter seeds. It's also the only way to get iridium berries from bushes. The tracker profession is just alright. The best use is that it can show you where panning spots are, which is important only if you're gunning for the lucky ring. Otherwise, the arrows at the edge of the screen are often just annoying. Never choose Tapper. Lastly, this is the only season where nautilus shells will wash up on the beach. You'll need one for the field research bundle. So, fishing isn't really all that important this season. All of the fish you need for bundles are available in previous seasons, and as a money source it starts to pale in comparison to that starfruit setup in the greenhouse. There are a few specific applications though. To start, it's still one of the best sources for artifacts that you'll need to complete the museum. Also remember, you'll need to catch all the fish if you want the perfection ending of the game. There are 7 fish unique to only winter. Perch and lingcod can be found whenever in any freshwater, and squid can be found 6 PM to 2 AM in the ocean. For the next 3, they're all actually found during the night market event on the beach from the 15th and the 17th. There's a submarine on the left side of the dock that'll charge 1,000 gold to go to deep water fishing. Here you can find midnight squid, spookfish, and blobfish. You can also find sea cucumbers, super cucumbers, and octopus down here, a few other rare fish. Lastly, we have the legendary fish of the season, the glacier fish. It's found at the very southern tip of the Arrowhead Island at the bottom of the Cindersap Forest. It requires level 6 fishing and is the second hardest fish to catch in the entire game, so I'd recommend coming at level 10 with a boost from some food. So we're mostly going to be talking about the Skull Cavern here, and honestly I covered a lot of it in the fall guide. I think the main difference here is that you'll be more prepared to go even deeper than you could before. My tips: number 1, bring food. Number 2, use explosive ammo with your master slingshot. Number 3, pray. Luck is going to get you everywhere in here. Smash as many rocks as you can and hope for a hole that can send you down multiple floors at once. As such, only plan deep dives on great luck days and eat food that gives a luck buff. After reaching floor 25 once, you'll receive a letter challenging you to reach floor 100. I'm happy to tell you that this isn't required for any completion criteria. I won't spoil the reward, but you'll be fine without it. As far as iridium uses go, again, none of them are required for completion other than crafting every item once. You'll mostly be using them for mass amounts of iridium sprinklers at this point. There's no rush to upgrade all your tools because other than the pickaxe, it's mostly pointless. You probably won't reach this point in winter unless you're insane, but also keep in mind that you'll eventually need 45 iridium bars to construct all of the obelisks for perfection, so you can never have enough iridium. Oh boy, this is where it gets busy. Let's go in chronological order to simplify things. If you leave your farm to the bus stop during any day, 6 AM to 4 PM, you'll unlock the quest, A Winter Mystery. This will have you searching around town for a shadowy figure you saw. Since it's pretty hard to actually find it, I'll just tell you that you're looking for footprints somewhere around the community center. Once you find the figure, you'll have the ability to find secret notes. These can be found from almost any mundane activity: cutting weeds, fishing, defeating monsters. The only guaranteed way to find one is by breaking open a giant crop. These will give you hint towards secrets all around the valley. Most of these reward you with knowledge of a villager's loved gifts or a decorative item. While none of the notes give you anything directly required for completion, a lot of them are very useful. On the 8th, we have our first holiday, the Festival of Ice. Here you can buy the Winter Rare Crow, required of course, and then a bunch of winter-themed decorations. Then you have the highlight of the festival, the fishing competition. Winning this isn't really that important. You get a hat and some fishing gear, but nothing too rare. If you've been following the guide, I think the next big event that will happen for you is completing the bundles. But I'm gonna save that for later so that if you don't want the spoilers, you can skip it. And it's a lot to go over. Next up, we have the night market on the 15th through the 17th. This isn't really a holiday in the same way as all the others. It's an event that goes on at night at the beach, and time will still pass normally while you're there. While you're there, you can grab a free cup of coffee, buy exclusive decorations, go on the aforementioned fishing submarine, buy most seasonal seeds at the magic shop boat, watch a mermaid dance and put in a code on the shells for a pearl, and see the traveling cart 3 days in a row. The villagers also have special schedules on these days, with these villagers visiting the night market on the given days. One last thing. The painting seller sells a unique painting each day. For 3 years. That's 9 paintings in total, and if you want them all, you'll have to play through 3 entire years, which is a nice touch. It's like the only unique thing about year 3 compared to year 2. There's a lot to do here, so don't squander your time. Finally, we have the Feast of the Winter Star. A few days before the event begins, you'll be given a random villager to give a gift to as their Secret Santa. This gift, similar to birthday gifts, has a super high multiplier, just of 5 times this time, instead of 8. Someone will also give you a gift. Certain villagers have certain sets of gifts that they can give you, such as Evelyn having a 100% chance to give you cookies. The only special item that you can get as a gift is the tea set, which almost every adult has a chance to give you. This is a furniture item that can be set on tables, and it's only available through this random gift, so most people have never seen it. There's also yet some more Christmas decorations for sale, nothing required though. And there's your events. You might have noticed I haven't mentioned anything about a certain island. That's for another video. Way too much for me to shove into winter. It's hard for me to pin down exactly what you'll need to focus on for bundles, as it's possible to have everything done other than the Winter Foraging bundle and the Nautilus Shell for the Field Research bundle. In lieu of that, let's talk about all of the Year 1 bundle completion killers, so that I can hopefully help you clutch out the rest of the community center. First off is the Rabbit's Foot. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Bang out that deluxe coop as soon as possible and buy a rabbit. You have to account for 6 days of growing to an adult, and then after that get lucky enough for it to drop a rabbit's foot, which is the most uncommon drop from any animal. Because of this, I'd recommend getting a second rabbit if you're in a rush. You can sell it for more money later anyway. Now, the killer. The red cabbage. This is the only item in the entirety of the community center that you need to rely solely on RNG for. That is, unless you check guaranteed year 1 completable when you made your game. If you did this, the traveling cart is guaranteed to stock red cabbage seeds at least once from spring to fall. The downside is that if you miss a single day of checking the cart, it's possible that you missed your only chance to buy it. There's luckily one more chance to brute force obtaining the red cabbage seed. They're a 0.2% drop from both mummies and serpents, and a 0.5% drop from big slimes in the skull cavern. That's it. If you're desperate, you can try to grind out those enemies as much as you can, otherwise you're waiting until summer of year 2, when they go on sale for the first time at Pierre's. Of course, this also revolves around you having the greenhouse to even plant the seed if you obtain it after summer. This one's rough. But hey, you did it! You completed all of the bundles. If you don't want to be spoiled on what's unlocked from completing the bundles, this is the part where you skip to the outro. Otherwise, let's get started. So immediately you'll obtain the local legend achievement, and the next morning you'll watch a cutscene of all the townspeople checking out the restored community center, along with Joe Jacola getting kicked out of town. That's right, no more cheap sunflower seeds. Also, you forced a few people into unemployment. In the next set of rewards, you'll find out the Pierre is open on Wednesday, you'll unlock the ability to start the Dark Talisman quest by entering the railroad area, and you'll get a letter from Willy asking you to enter his back door. For the Dark Talisman quest, you'll be tasked to go into the Witch's Swamp to get the Wizard's Magic Ink. The first step is to talk to Krobus to unlock the mutant bug lair in the sewers. It's pretty easy to find the talisman in here, but don't forget to fish before you leave to get a slime jack, a fish unique to the area. Use the talisman to open the gate to the Witch's Swamp and you'll find a goblin blocking the way. He'll only move out of the way for a void mayonnaise. If you haven't gotten lucky and had your coop cursed with a void chicken, you'll need to buy a void egg from Krobus and turn it into mayo the same way you would any other egg. Then you can go grab the ink and give it to the wizard. This will unlock both the wizard buildings and the dark shrines. Using the dark shrines, you can offer 30,000 gold to the middle shrine to make your spouse forget that you were ever married. This is better than divorce because if you divorce someone, you cannot remarry them. You can give a prismatic shard to the one on the left to delete your child, with no consequences, and you can give a strange bun to the one on the right to make monsters appear on your farm at night. Give it another strange bun to make them stop appearing. The wizard buildings that you unlock include all of the obelisks, requiring a ridiculous amount of money and materials. This will warp you to the respective area an unlimited amount of times, and they're also required for perfection. The gold clock is also required for perfection, it just prevents debris from appearing at the start of each season, and your fences will never break. Finally, we have the Junimo huts. The huts will auto-harvest any crop within 8 spaces of the hut and are not required. Note that the harvesting won't be perfectly optimized. It doesn't work on rainy days, and it's possible for the Junimos to not have enough time to reach everything before 7:10 p.m. when they turn in for the day. I like putting them in a kind of set it and forget it area with crops that have multiple harvests and have sprinklers to keep them alive, then dealing with it every season. Lastly, we have the letter. When you enter Willie's back door, you'll see a boat that he wants to fix up. This requires 5 battery packs, 5 iridium bars, and 200 hardwood. You'll want to have the battery packs already by the end of fall, as it can't thunderstorm in winter. For the hardwood, it's easy enough to mass plant mahogany trees and slap tree fertilizer on each one. It should take between 1 to 2 weeks if you're diligent with it. Finishing the boat will allow you to go to Ginger Island, but that's for another video. Lastly, this won't happen in winter, but once you have your first thunderstorm after completing the center, the abandoned Joja Mart will be opened up. And here is one last bundle requiring extremely rare items. 5 of the following 6. Silver or better quality wine, dinosaur mayonnaise, prismatic shard, 5 gold quality ancient fruit, a gold or iridium quality void salmon, and caviar. First, the easiest 3 are caviar, void salmon, and dino mayo. I've already given you the tips for the mayo and the caviar. Put sturgeon into a fish pond and then put its roe in a keg if you've forgotten. The void salmon can be fished up in the Witch's Swamp, and you should have a pretty good fishing level at this point, easily finding a gold quality one. For the last 2, personally, I would shoot for the silver wine and the prismatic shard. Getting the prismatic shard is, in fact, pure luck. However, there is a guaranteed one after the new dungeon on Ginger Island. The silver wine will take you a while. You'll need to leave a fruit in a keg for 21 days, 7 days for regular quality, and then 14 extra for silver. Not quite worth it monetarily, but useful for this. Getting 5 gold ancient fruit will take you a lot longer, no matter what, plus it's worth way more money than anything else on the list, so you're better off selling them. After that, you'll unlock the movie theater. This is basically a way to easily build friendship with whoever you have left to build up. Each villager has their own favorite snacks and movies. I won't go too into this, it'll be saved for the relationship guide video. But I'll leave you with this. Going to the movies has a 7-day cooldown as opposed to resetting on a specific day like most other things, and never take Linus to the movies. He never likes it. There's also a crane game for decorations. And that's it. A whole year of guides covered. I will say, there's a lot to the month of winter, and I very well might have missed something. Let me know if I did, and I'll heart the comment so that they can be at the top to be seen. Also, I'll be making one last guide video for the first year, and it'll be a less detailed summary of the whole year so that the information isn't as intimidating, only what's absolutely necessary. Also, thank you for watching to the very end. I hope this helped you, and I'll see you in the next video.